Hello, welcome to Three at the Back. It's a new special episode. We're just trying to get a little bit more content on the channel. We've got the main weekly show, and we're going to do little bits and bobs at other points in the week. This is the first one of those. I'm with Jonathan Metcalfe.
Hello.
Joe isn't around. He's travelling down to the capital. He's having a bit of a jolly. But we are here today to discuss something John's very happy about, obviously, the big game last night, which was Manchester City versus Barcelona. It was a massive 3-1 win for Manchester City, despite going a goal down. And we're just here. We're going to have informal, bit less formal than the main stuff.
Was that formal to begin with?
Friendly chat, yeah, but we don't have an agenda. We just got a match report in front of us, and it's just going to be a 20-minute, bit shorter than the regular stuff. 20-minute chat. We've got Owen.
Planning an hour.
We've got Owen in the room with us editing.
Say hi, Owen.
Give us a wave. He's giving us a wave. You can't see it, but he's giving us a proud wave. Say a little bit louder.
Hi.
Hi. There we go. If you didn't hear that, it's your problem. So we'll get on to the game because that's what we're here to discuss. Finally, Manchester City end their long winless run against their hoodoo against Barcelona. John, you must be absolutely delighted because even I was.
Moderately happy.
Moderately.
You've got to keep it in small amount. I'm joking. I'm fucking ecstatic. I'm absolutely over the moon. Just the performance to go with it as well.
I must say the performance.
It's the nice,
you can't fault it.
Kind of nights you dream of. Kind of nights in Europe against the big teams that you dream of. Big performances against big teams and big results. And
well, 10 years ago, I know we were relatively considerably younger 10 years ago, but 10 years ago you could never imagine that Man City would be beating Barcelona at the Etihad. And the performance to go with it, we will talk about the performance, was just, it was the complete opposite to 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Just to put into context John's excitement at the result last night, he made the artwork for this episode, and the email simply says, we did it, Ben, blue moon and all that in caps, along with the two pictures, which perfectly sums up.
I was very excited last night. Yeah. I was very hyper.
So, what did you make of Barcelona's performance? Because continue.
In the first half, they were all over us. I messaged you after they scored the first goal. This could be another demolition. I hope it's not. And I said I can't really see us winning this. They're just all over us. We couldn't link a pass.
It was tough. It was tough to see you winning after half an hour. I thought because bizarrely, I thought Barcelona turned up. To be honest, 2 weeks after beating you 4-0 in the new camp. And I think after their first goal, they were a little bit disrespectful, I thought, because the way that they played the ball around, it was like a training session, and there was 10 minutes after their goal where I was really starting to worry for you because if you go out and get beat 4-0 at home, that's a new level of embarrassment, really. But. Fair play to you. You were due some luck, and you took the chance that led to the first goal. You made plenty of mistakes in the first leg in the other game 2 weeks ago. Made plenty of mistakes, and finally you were due one yourself, and you took the goal. And from there, the performance was
second half performance.
I know. Well,
I'm dreaming of it. The first half was a struggle. Now we say, but to kick on like we did after that goal, we didn't sit back and say, okay, we'll try and stop it being 4-0. We after the goal we were still pressuring them, trying to get the ball back, and we were trying to pressure them into a mistake because this makeshift defence that they had, we knew we could try and draw a mistake from that, and so we did. So we were still going at it, still having at it, didn't give in, and the goal came, and it was lucky the ball came across, but we made plenty of mistakes, and in the last leg they were making a few mistakes as well with PK on the side alongside Umtiti, but we took advantage. Aguero, brilliant ball from Sterling, finish from Gundogan.
Yeah,
that just turned the game on its head at half time. I mean, at half time I was still a bit like, they've looked more threatening. They could go and get another one, but at least it doesn't look like it's going to be a blowout. But when we came out the second half, the way we started, you start to think, we could have them.
Well, it could have been a different game right from the first 10 minutes, because for me, you should have had a penalty.
Oh, yeah.
But it astonishes me. Obviously, they show it at half-time, they show it at full-time. So, for honestly, how you weren't awarded a penalty. But it was important after that. To be honest, until they scored, I thought you were the better side. And then they had 10, 15 minutes, really, where it was important that you didn't concede again.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't. You held firm. You got the goal. And there was a massive sense of optimism going in 1-1 at half-time. Because if you go in 1-0 down or even 2-0 down, worst case scenario at that point, you were really going to struggle second half. And then you came out second half, and I've got to say, they didn't get a look in. They hit the bar, but you had so many chances at 2-1. Kevin De Bruyne, by the way, was, there's been a lot of talk about world-class players in the Premier League recently.
Oh.
If anybody proved last night that he was world-class, it was Kevin De Bruyne.
Ginger Pele.
Ginger Pele.
Oh,
The
God.
Ginger Belgian Pele.
Ginger Belgian Pele. It's precise, that.
Very well, yeah.
Ginger Belgian Pele. He has a very white skin tone.
Very
That's
white.
what he is.
But the goal he scored, it was very clever from Man City putting extra men in the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But then from there, from the 51st minute, Barcelona didn't really get a look in,
No.
except for hitting the bar, which. Then, obviously, if they score, then it goes 2-2. Then it's a different game, and for me, that's a sitter. Mm-hmm. Andre Gomez, who hasn't scored with Barcelona all season.
Look, it fell to Andre Gomez.
I know, but
Suarez played the ball. If it's Neymar or Messi, it's
all he has to do is slot it in. He doesn't have to power it. He just has to play it along the floor. But De Bruyne had another shot that went sort of wide. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of other chances now.
There was one where the ball came across the face of the net, and De Bruyne was an inch away from getting a touch to it.
Yeah, any touch would have taken it in.
Sterling was through on goal. He took too too many touches, tried to shoot from too tight an angle and hit the side netting. Chances just kept coming. Because we were pressuring them, we were getting the ball back after the second goal. They were just restless. They weren't confident on the ball. They were messy. We were, pun not intended. We were just pressuring them, not giving them any time, and it was forcing them into mistakes. And then we took advantage of those mistakes, which is something we haven't been doing in recent weeks. And we were getting chances. We were
making your own mistakes in the recent weeks, which has been the problem.
But as well as making the mistakes in recent weeks, we haven't been clinical enough. We haven't been making any clear-cut chances. Games against Southampton come to mind when you think of that.
Yeah,
and the game against United, we didn't really threaten De Gea in that game. This time when we got the ball, we were so much more precise.
Actually,
De Bruyne giving it about, Gundogan, Sterling making runs.
Yeah, Sterling played well. I think Aguero didn't have the best game. For whatever reason that was, he collected the ball from the mistake that led to the first goal. But really, in terms of the people who stood out for me, it was the players playing behind Aguero. You players like Silva and De Bruyne. Sterling had a fantastic game, and then Gundogan in midfield. All had a fantastic game. I thought Navas was good when he came on.
They were all. I can't fault anyone.
No,
I can't fault anyone. There were some that stood out more than others, but none of them. You say, well, they were pretty average. They got carried. They didn't. They all put a shift in. It was just brilliant to watch. But yes, you say Aguero didn't have a fantastic game. He didn't really get many shots off. He didn't score any goals. I think he got an accidental assist for that Gundogan goal when he fish dived.
Yeah, well, there was a talk of handball.
Nah,
it's not, because for me, it's not handball.
You can't remove your arms, can you?
His arm, if his arm wasn't there, it would have hit his chest. So,
and they said
it's not handball.
They said on BT Sport they showed a replay from the angle of Navas's cross. Ter Stegen got a tiny touch on the ball as it came across. He got a tiny fingertip and it diverted the ball slightly. So if he doesn't get that touch, Aguero's heading it in. But Aguero had to react to that ball, adjusting its course slightly. He had to try and move his arm out the way.
Yeah, it wasn't handball.
He can't put his arms anywhere else. He can't. But Aguero's performance, he
got in the right areas and did the right things.
His hold-up play was superb. Yeah. And what I think they said on Match of the Day last week after the West Brom game, what Pep wants Sergio to do more is a lot more running not just collecting the ball, being the target man, give it him and let him shoot. He holds up the ball more for runners and for De Bruyne and for Gundogan and for Sterling. I think he ran... I can't remember what the exact statistic was, but they showed it on the analysis match of the day last week against West Brom. He ran about 3 kilometres more than he did last year on average in that one game. So his role is so important for just holding up the ball and waiting for runners to give the ball to, instead of just let Sergio have it and let him shoot, because he's very good at that. Of course he is, but his performance in terms of, if you take out the fact that he didn't score a goal, he didn't really get an assist outright, it was still a superb performance.
Yeah, you're right. You can't fault anyone. We were talking about mistakes though, and obviously John Stones, the hit the bar came from John Stones, and bizarrely it was excellent defending in midfield, and then he just decided, you know what? I've done the hard bit. I'm going to play to Suarez now.
It was madness. I don't know what.
Suarez didn't get a look in. Apart from that, Suarez really struggled, and it pains me to say, but because I have a soft spot for Luis Suarez.
After we equalised, I don't think any of those front three really had a look in. Messi was tackled whenever he tried to approach the box. Suarez didn't get any kind of provision, and Neymar
was probably the best out of the three.
And he made some tricky runs, and we were struggling to deal with him a little bit, especially near the end.
Yeah.
Other than that, those three were contained pretty well after the initial thing. And I think throughout the whole game, really, I mean, they had a lot of chances in the first 30 minutes. They were playing the ball about the box pretty well, and they had a few shots, and they had a few. But apart from the counter-attack, I don't think Barcelona, and especially those front three, were brilliantly clinical in terms of making chances for themselves.
No, I think you're right there, but I don't think City allowed them to, because I think City, and obviously the Pep style and the style that is very much in style in the Premier League at the moment. The pressing game that they had was quite phenomenal for the whole 90 minutes, and I sort of thought they were doing it for the first 20 minutes, and I was beginning to wonder whether they'd be able to, after the Barcelona goal, because obviously from there I didn't expect you to win, and I expected Barcelona to have a lot of the ball, and I was thinking, can City keep that up for 90 minutes? But really, if you think of the competitiveness of the Premier League, I'd say that the fitness of Premier League sides is going to be considerably better than even that of the best team in the Liga, because of the quality that they're coming up against every week. Even teams like Stoke and West Brom, who can be difficult to break down and can be frustrating to play against. The pressing that you've got to put against them, that they are still high quality sides, and I think that teams like Barcelona and Real Madrid, and then teams in the French league like PSG, aren't coming up against that kind of quality against sides who can do it for 90 minutes. Therefore, they don't have to press, they don't have to play at their maximum for 90 minutes. So when they come up against teams like City in the and Arsenal, PSG are in Arsenal's Champions League group, when they come up against those teams in the Champions League, they struggle after 75 minutes.
It's not just games on the pitch that help this fitness. Pep's been making this regime because it's so crucial to the way he plays to have fit players pressing the ball, and like you say, the game.
I know what you're saying, but I think the difference is the competitiveness of the league.
Also, in terms of training, and when Samir Nasri got exiled from the team because he was apparently too fat. Would you call Samir Nasri fat?
No,
I wouldn't. But in Pep's side, he just needs incredibly fit players. And when De Bruyne went off near the end of the game, also to give him a standing ovation, of course. It was a shot of Pep Guardiola, and you saw him make a sudden motion to the bench trade, and we thought, oh God, is someone injured? And when we saw De Bruyne go, it's like, no, he's just absolutely shattered. The poor lad.
Of course.
His face was red, which was an out.
Sterling was the same. I think Sterling looked shattered when he came off, but he looked annoyed to come off, but he was probably for the best. I think Navas did a good job really on the right.
Oh yeah. Giving them nothing.
It's promising. I'm looking at the group now. It's in your own hands.
Yeah.
Go out. All you have to do is go out and beat. Is Celtic Mönchengladbach next?
If Celtic fail to beat Barcelona, a draw will do as well.
So there you go. I think you would fancy Celtic to fail to beat Barcelona. Despite the fact it's at Celtic Park.
To be honest, if we win, it'll be very nice if
Yeah.
Celtic were to beat Barcelona.
That would be quite good. Yeah,
very kind of them.
you'd be above them, but let's not get ahead of
Let's not
ourselves.
get ahead of
Celtic, to be
ourselves.
fair, took a draw away from Gladbach tonight, last night.
Yeah. Could have won.
Could have won.
Very
They
well
had a
won.
chance at the end, didn't they? And he yeah.
Was it,
I don't know his name.
Was it McGregor or something like
McGregor, yeah, I
Something
don't
like- something
know.
along
I know
those
Dembele scored the penalty.
Yeah, well, he's a machine.
So the question after last night's games is now who would you rather have in your team, Kevin De Bruyne or Mesut Ozil?
I think Kevin.
Kevin.
I think Kevin. I don't know. They're so similar.
They're both world class players, and they proved it
no
last
doubt,
night.
no
If
doubt.
anybody listening hasn't seen the Mesut Ozil goal from last night, go and find it, because he sells them about 1,000 dummies, and it's it's incredible. It's just an incredible goal.
Absolute football player.
And it just proves really, poor Alan Shearer, who had the audacity to say that, that Sergio Aguero was the only world-class player in the Premier League. Kevin De Bruyne and Mesut Ozil last night just completely blew him out the water, because he just completely got it wrong. And both players proved it last night. Mesut Ozil's goal to win it was absolutely outstanding. But again, the Man City performance, we can't fault it. It's going to do wonders, I think.
It's got to.
For everything. It is in both competitions.
You've got to say, if we can beat Barcelona, we can beat Middlesbrough at the weekend. Whether we will or not is a different matter, but we've got to take it and use it. And just after this apparent crisis that we had about a week back, obviously don't know what they were talking about.
A week's a long time in football.
Crisis. It's a long time in football. Everything's changed since then. You know, like you say, a couple of weeks ago, we were smashed 4-0 by the very same team. This time round, it's in the second half, they didn't look anything special. And it's incredible what a couple of wins can do for morale, and what a couple of losses can do for morale. So we've got to use this. We've got to take it. We've got to take advantage of it, because it is more than 3 points. It's mentality.
Does a lot for the fan base, I think. What I did notice last night was kind of, it wasn't so much at the beginning, because you've got to admit that the Etihad struggles to build up an atmosphere, even on Champions League night. But in the second half, it wasn't quite as special as some other grounds like Celtic Park, in the Champions League. But the Etihad, it was as loud as I've heard it.
When things are going well at the Etihad, the atmosphere is superb. It really is.
I think you do have a problem in terms of it is a very wide space. If you take a ground like Anfield, it's a very narrow. All the stands are quite close together, and I think that does help in terms of keeping an atmosphere in. But the Etihad,
just ask West Ham.
And then West Ham are struggling with it as well. But the size of the Etihad, the vast enormity of it, I don't think helps keep an atmosphere. But I must say, it was.
We'll make it a dome. Put a roof over it. Be happy days.
So we'll wrap it up there.
Yep.
Manchester City 3, Barcelona 1 in the Champions League. It does wonders for Pep Guardiola. It does wonders for the team. It does wonders for their Champions League hopes, I've got to say. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Please like, subscribe, share, comment if you want to say anything.
Something nice though.
In the description we've got links to this week's episode 3, which has got Joe involved, the bigger episode, and also our Facebook page, which is now up and running. Go and give that a like. Again, thanks very much for listening. We'll be back midweek next week with episode 4. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.
Bye.